Okay, got it. Hi, everybody. This is Mary Nack with my good pal, Wes Walker, Compass colleague, on a snowy Chicago day. Normally we do these Mondays at noon, but the schedule's gotten messed up.
I'll say.
Right?
It's
Now,
getting messed up.
completely messed up. I was hoping we could do it Tuesdays at noon, but maybe it's going to have to be Wednesdays at noon. I don't know. That might be a thing for a while, huh, Wes?
But we'll see.
Yeah. So you're snowed in? What?
I don't know if I'm technically snowed in, but I'm letting myself be snowed in.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. Fortunately, I didn't already have appointments other than calls set up for today, so it kind of worked out. But yeah, it's kind of seems like it's getting pretty thick. And when Stump went to work this morning, and he sent a picture from Michigan Avenue, and Michigan Avenue was already pretty messed up and at like 9 o'clock, so, or before 8:30 or something. So I figured if they didn't have it all, cleared up, that it must be pretty bad around town.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really been too dialed into the news and the weather. I've been too busy. I'm wondering what variant of COVID is going around right now. I don't even know. I mean, is it still Omicron, or have we peaked? I thought I saw in the paper a couple of weeks ago that we had peaked at Omicron, but so I don't know. I thought it was gonna be bad for morning rush, but then I thought it was gonna stop snowing, but man, it is really coming down. I had planned to go run out and do some errands this afternoon, so I don't know. I might have to rethink that plan. But
yeah, I don't normally pay too much attention, but I did look at a couple of weather apps a couple hours ago, and some of them show snow, well, at least like 50% chance or more through the night and tomorrow morning. So it could get pretty thick. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe that's just in certain areas, though. I don't know.
And then is it supposed to get cold? Because I thought I'd heard that it was going to get down to like 7 below or something. Have they changed that? Has that changed?
I didn't see that. I saw like stuff like in the 20s, but
yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that was last week, but obviously that's changed. It looks like it's about 25, maybe 23, 25 out there right now. But anyway, yeah, it's really coming down. It's oh well. Groundhog Day. So does that mean that spring is on the way? The groundhog didn't see his shadow in Chicago, so spring is on its way. Isn't that what that means?
Oh no, it's 6 more weeks of winter.
If he sees his shadow.
Well, it had already happened, and he's whichever he saw a shadow or he didn't, whichever, it's 6
you
more
mean
weeks.
in Pennsylvania, Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about Chicago.
Oh, is there a groundhog in Chicago?
Well, not the official groundhog. The official groundhog is Punxsutawney Phil in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, right?
That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know that's who you're talking about. That's not who I'm talking about.
That's the groundhog to which I refer.
I'm talking about in Chicago. If there were a groundhog, which we have groundhogs in Chicago, we actually had a groundhog when we had our cottage up in Door County.
Did you have a weather predicting groundhog?
We had a groundhog that lived underneath our front porch. Yeah. And we were up there one winter. It's probably a winter similar to this with a lot of, well, they always get a lot of snow up there. Well, they like to get a lot of snow up there because of the snowmobile. They love their winter sports up there. And actually, it's been kind of a bad winter for them up there because the lake hasn't, Green Bay hasn't frozen enough for the ice fishermen to get out. And there was a thing a couple, 3 weeks ago where I guess there were like 20, 30 ice fishermen out there, and the ice broke off and they were all like stranded. The Coast Guard had to go out and rescue them because the ice had broken off and they were out there floating in the middle of Green Bay.
They were floating.
What's that?
Said at least they were floating.
Well, good thing about ice is that it floats, right?
If it's big enough. Yeah.
Well, ice floats, don't you know that? Because
Yeah, but I'm sure if I stood on a piece of ice, it wouldn't hold me up.
oh, I
Unless
see.
it was a really big
Oh, I
piece of
see.
ice.
I see where you're going there. I see where you're going with that now. Yeah, anyway, yeah, I don't know. I actually remember sitting in one of the neighborhood bars up there, and of which there are several. And everybody's very friendly and talkative, of course, you know, in a bar anyway, but particularly in Door County. And I don't really get the whole ice fishing thing, honestly. I'm just, you know, too much of a big city girl, obviously. But what I was told is that the fish is much sweeter from ice fishing. Like, okay. I know that the meat is sweeter.
Yeah, I doubt
I
that.
don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a way to justify the sport or the hobby,
I think so too.
right?
Otherwise, all that frozen seafood would be the best.
That's right. Well, no, the fish don't freeze. So my
No,
brother,
I meant
so my
the-
brother, the mad scientist, who has a PhD in freshwater systems, which is like, you know, Green Bay and the Great Lakes, etc., rivers and all that stuff. He tells me that water is at its most dense at 40 degrees. So 40-degree water will actually sink to the bottom, which is why ice floats. Like, who knew, right? So when water is colder, it actually has less, it's less dense. Ice is like a really weird, it's really weird. Ice is a weird thing.
Isn't 40 degrees the temperature at which like white wines are kept? Isn't it 40?
Well, I think they keep it around 45 or so.
I'm thinking of something else. I don't know.
I don't think they keep, yeah, I don't, what do I know? I don't know. I wouldn't know. I keep my white wine in a thing until I'm ready to drink it, and then I
bet
throw
if they asked about a cocktail, you would know.
Yeah, if you ask me about a cocktail, I know. And then when I'm ready, when I want it, when I think I might want to drink it, I throw it in the refrigerator and open it that night for dinner. That's what I know about.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It actually says 45 to 50 degrees. So maybe it's then as I was saying that, I was thinking maybe it was refrigerators are supposed to be at 40 degrees or something. So I don't know.
No, not refrigerator. Well, I actually keep my refrigerator at 37 degrees. If it goes much colder than that, then the stuff that's in the bottom starts to freeze. But if I keep my refrigerator at 37 degrees, I can keep stuff so much longer than if
this says at 40 degrees or below 40 degrees.
You're supposed to have your refrigerator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why you have to have a separate one if you're like a wine aficionado and but now when you store wine, like even, it doesn't matter if it's red or white, does it?
As far as what?
I mean, don't you store wine at like 45, 50 degrees, regardless of whether it's red or white?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have a wine cellar. My wine is stored at whatever temperature the room is.
What? You don't have a wine cellar? I'm shocked. I'm in shock and awe that you don't have a wine cellar.
We ought to.
Today would be a good day to dig into it, right?
Yeah, I think people forget too, though, that red wine is supposed to be cool, not as cold as white, but it is supposed to be, I forgot the temperature it's supposed to be served at, but it's more like 57 or something like that. It's not supposed to be at room temperature.
Oh, really? No, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And do you have to let red wine breathe and white wine you don't?
Yeah, as far as I know. Maybe
you know what, we should find somebody who actually knows about this stuff and get them on and interview them.
Get them on a real estate call.
Get them on a real estate talk.
We have important topics to discuss.
Right? I mean, I mean, we're so funny. We talk about everything but real estate, I think.
Do you have any wine aficionados?
there must be some that we know and we don't know about. We have to put out the call. Any wine aficionados, contact us and we'll have you come on and you can tell us all about it.
Pick up the red phone now.
Actually, my brother has a good friend who out in California, they go to the wineries and stuff. And I think he's quite knowledgeable, but unfortunately he's working. He has a real job, so he has to. I don't think we could get him during the day. He's a surgeon, so he's probably doing surgery.
Whatever.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't
Someone to come talk
retired.
to us about red wine.
I know, right? What's more important, right? Anyway, so what are you going to do now that you're snowed in, and how and when is it supposed to stop snowing, and when are we going to be able to get
I don't
out?
know. I guess it depends on who you ask, because when I looked at like 3 different weather apps, they all had different information. Weather is showing it like, what is that? I forgot who this, if it's the Weather Channel or who it is that does the weather app, but they show the snow going like through the night and into at least 50, 60, 50, 40% by tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Oh, Lord.
So, yeah.
So if I'm gonna get out and do my errands, I better do them sooner rather than later, is what I hear you saying, right?
Yeah, well, but then the dark sky, which is more hyper local, so it's showing like where I am in downtown Chicago.
Mhm.
It's saying that the snow is stopping. Well, by later down to like 4 or 5% by like this evening, by like 6
Okay.
o'clock.
Well, 4 or 5% is basically it's not going to snow.
Yeah, and
But
then
yeah, because what I read yesterday, it was all supposed to be south and like southwest of us. I didn't know that we were supposed to even get this much snow. And
yeah,
I had my book group last night, and they were all trying to figure out, because apparently there was talk about, was today going to be where the school's going to be open for in-person learning, or was it going to be a remote learning day? And they hadn't made that announcement. And a couple of the women in my book group have kids in school, and we're trying to figure out, what the heck are we sending kids to school in the morning, or are we doing remote learning tomorrow? So I don't know what ended up happening. I said, well, in the old days, you'd turn on good old WGN radio and listen to the school closures, right? I don't know what.
I don't know. I didn't grow up here.
Well, I mean, that's what
you did.
That's what we used to do. We used to turn on WGN radio and we'd listen to the school closures. And
We got a phone call from my aunt. I mean, I think if you watch TV at the right time, you could find out. But plus, there were all the different school systems, so they, in Chicago, there's one big one and then all the suburban ones. But in Tulsa, there was the Tulsa public schools, but so many more of them were separate school systems that were basically in metropolitan Tulsa. But my aunt was a teacher, right next door to us, and was a teacher, and they got the first call. So even if it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night or whatever, they called them to call it, and then she'd call us to let us know. So
well, that was a pretty damn reliable source. No,
yeah.
Well, when Carl was a kid, he went to private school, and their policy was, is if the public schools were closed, then they would be closed as well. But then they changed that.
Which public school did they choose to follow, though?
No, Chicago public schools.
Okay.
He went to school, and he went to a private school in Chicago, a little neighborhood school. But student body, it was maybe 150 total grade school. It was great. Anyway, he's still in touch with some of those kids, believe it or not. But
yeah,
because that's a total Chicago story right there, though. I mean, people congregate by what grade school they went to, but
yeah,
anyway.
Some
Right?
goes to they have, I'd never heard of grade school reunions before.
I know.
But some goes to, he went to St. Linus down in the South Burbs, and they, not as a class, but as a school, they have reunions. So he would go and see people from, whatever, 40, 50 years ago. But yeah, I'd never seen any, where I come from, they don't have
Right.
elementary school,
Right.
elementary school reunions. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's a total Chicago thing.
Yeah.
That's a total Chicago thing right there. In your neighborhood, what neighborhood you grew up in. So anyway, yeah, so they were trying to figure out but now with the remote learning and everything, they don't necessarily have to close school, right? They just switch from in-person learning to remote learning. Although for the parents, they have to figure out what they're doing with their kids, right? I don't know. I'm just glad I'm just really glad I don't have a kid in school through this whole pandemic thing.
Yeah. I was going to say, with the cancellations due to weather, it's just one more layer, because between the pandemic and on and off and on and off, and then the arguments and fights over that, and then the layer on top of that, the teachers strike.
I was going to say that the school that Carl went to, that policy changed the year they had the teachers strike, because the kids, they ended up not having snow days that year because the strike went on for so long. They weren't going to get enough days in to have a full school year.
Yeah. So
we ended up having a few snowstorms where they really should have been closed, but they weren't because of the teacher strike. They had to, it's like nobody was in school, but
we had that a couple of times, but in Tulsa, it was less about the snow, although, they have a lot of snow there, but it was more about ice storms. So we had a couple of years that we had to go to school longer to get the school days in, because in those ice storms, there's nothing you can do. You can't even step out the door without, practically killing yourself. So
an ice storm is way worse.
Incredibly dangerous. And they get a lot of that. They're supposed to be getting ice storms there today and tomorrow, I think. And then snow, but the ice storms, there's nothing you can do. It's super dangerous. Fortunately, we rarely get that here, but they get that several times a year.
Oh, wow.
It might just last a day or two, and sometimes it's like that.
Does it warm up? Does it warm up then? Is that what happens? And it melts?
Or it snows, or it was in the mid 70s on Monday, and they're supposed to have ice and snowstorms, blizzards the rest of the week. So it's very typical. Yeah. It'll jump from 80 to 20 or 80 to 0 in a couple of days often. Yeah.
Wow. I was actually on a Zoom call right before we got onto this one with a Compass colleague. He's in Tampa. And I think he said on Monday, they actually had frost in Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
And but that today, right, it's like 75 degrees there today. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was supposed to be in the 70s and 80s in Florida right now. But
yeah, some of the worst, though, I would see would be when it would be like in mornings, it might be 50 or 60 degrees even, but there would still be patches of black ice that you couldn't see.
You mean in Oklahoma, you mean?
Yeah. And a lot of fatal accidents and stuff from that, because it's like spring.
Black ice is the worst. You don't see it.
It's spring. If it could be 60 degrees, it doesn't feel like you should be looking out for anything. There's, it looks like spring, and then all of a sudden just a patch that you can't see, and it's just, it's deadly.
Wow.
Fortunately, we don't get very much of that here.
Yeah. Tulsa's pretty flat, right? It's out there kind of is it flat?
No, it's very hilly. It's in the foothill of the Ozarks and the Osage Hills, so it's very hilly.
Oh.
Very green, hilly, and very forested. Yeah.
Not what you think about when you think of Oklahoma.
Yeah. A lot of parts of Oklahoma are flat, a lot of in the Salt Plains, but there's actually EPA says that Oklahoma is the most geographically varied state in the mainland. Yeah.
No kidding. Well, we did our road trip back in 2019, summer of 19. We did our road trip, and on our way home, we drove through Oklahoma, and that western part of Oklahoma is, flat as a pancake.
Yeah, yeah.
And all wheat fields. It actually, the air actually, because I had my window.
Smelled like bread.
No. It smelled like wheat. The
Yeah.
air smells like wheat. It kind of like cut grass. It smells like cut grass.
Yeah.
Maybe they were harvesting because it was September. It was after Labor Day. They might have been harvesting the wheat.
Probably was.
Yeah. I'm like, you could get used to that, right?
Yeah, it's not a bad smell for sure.
Right. I mean,
going through like east of Denver, going through like Greeley, Colorado, where they have the stockyards that are, it's like 20 miles of stockyards. And it's just, it is horrible. Even on the interstate, you can't breathe.
Denver, you're saying, before you get to Denver.
So yeah, so there's definitely the smell.
You kind of,
what's that?
You
froze on me.
We froze. You're saying that the stockyards east of Denver before you get into Denver. Is that what you were saying?
Right. Yeah. It's centered around Greeley. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, those things are horrible. Yeah. If that's not enough to persuade you to become vegetarian, I don't know what is. But maybe we shouldn't say that. People rely on that for their living. So
you in today too? Are you hunkered down?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was going to say, you're going to read a good book, or what are you going to do?
Oh, I booked up between our Zoom calls and stuff we're supposed to be doing for our trainings for all the new stuff we're working on. And
do you have training? Yeah, we have that training at 1:00, right? We have a training. Yeah.
And then I've got my 10x10 this afternoon. I've got a lot. Yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, our book group, we just finished reading a new book that's out called Cloud Cuckoo Land. I'll show it to you. It's a very pretty book. And
you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, though, right?
Right. You're not supposed to judge it by Anthony. I don't know how you say that. Doerr.
I don't know. Yeah.
And it looks like it's a really big book, right? It's like over 600 pages. But I got to tell you, by the time he's got all these chapters, and every chapter is separated with a blank page.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh right.
A lot of blank pages. So it's actually a pretty, I mean, just a lot of blank pages.
There's like a lot of wasted paper and trees.
Right. I know. Right. So I mean, I don't know what the purpose of making all that.
The audiobook's like 35 minutes long.
I was going to say it's like 620 some pages, but I think by the time, if you took out all the blank pages, it'd probably be closer to around 500. But it's still, it's a quick read is my point. It goes quicker than you think it would. But it was a really good book. I mean, we had a really good discussion. It's an instant New York Times bestseller.
Whatever that means. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? What does that mean? But he wrote another book, but he's a pretty good writer. He wrote another book. I guess it's I don't know if I want to read. It's called All the Light We Cannot See.
Oh, I know that one. Yeah. And
it's about the French occupation during World War II or something like that.
Yeah, I know that one. Huh, interesting.
Have you read that one?
I haven't read the book. I feel like I knew about the book.
Well, he won a Pulitzer for that book.
Okay, yeah.
For all the Light We Cannot See.
I think I got that one from my mom. I
was going to say her group probably read it.
Well, I think I bought it for her, but anyway.
Oh. Well, anyway, this is a good one. I mean, I actually ended up buying it because I'm an A+ patron of the Chicago Public Libraries. I try not to buy books, but this was on such a long wait, and I'm like 600. We picked a big one because we hadn't met since the beginning of December, and normally we meet once a month, so we had a little more time to read a bigger book. And but I'm like, I can't wait and start reading the weekend before we're supposed to discuss it. And one time there was one time that I didn't finish the book. I had about 50 pages left, and it had a surprise ending. So I got to the book group to discuss it, and I'm like, what happened? Huh? And I'm like, okay, note to self, do not go to book study. Do not go to your book group if you haven't finished reading the book.
Yeah. Good advice.
Right? Yeah. So it's,
Well, I hope you stay in today and get some of that reading done.
well, no, I finished this one. We're done with this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we talked about it. I was just saying, if you're in and you want to read it, it's a good one. It's a good one to curl up with on a snowy day. So
All right.
all right. Well, I don't know. We don't know when we're going to be doing these. Our schedule's all messed up, so we'll have to figure it out. And but just stay tuned, and you'll get the notices through Facebook. And stay warm and safe, and enjoy the pretty snow as it comes down. Right.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.